New business.
So we received notice from the tax collector that per Florida statute, they cannot partial out the tax payments. So there was discussion on some of the units paying the assessment up front, according to the tax collector, that they cannot.
So it's the 5-year plan
It's
only.
a 5-year. And I'm working to trim that.
Okay. New business?
So, there's one more item. Mosquito control, we reached out to mosquito control. They seem happy to oblige in control measures, so have they done the assessment? Have you heard back from them? So they're gonna, we gave them combos to the gate, they're gonna come out and look at it. They're either gonna treat it through ATV or flight.
Awesome.
And that's it on the updates.
Okay. The tree and code via flight and dispensary. Okay. Every 2 weeks, so, and they're still really bad out there, yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot of chemicals.
Yeah, so there's new business, right? So the maintenance schedule we, I think, covered, correct? That was discussion regarding how often the mow, the property, maintaining the property.
Yeah.
Steve, you requested the FAQs and you requested another item.
Well, the maintenance schedule is what I requested, and we've already covered that in the annual assessment, which is what I wanted to get to. So we're good there. I don't know how long the rest of you want to stay, but if, I'd like to first address, because we had who receives emails.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so, because we have the site up and running, or will be.
It's up, it's up.
Okay, so my thought is, I think we should have a point person who looks at the junk and the reasonable stuff and handles certain things. And because I get 270 emails a day, I don't want to see another 270 emails from some crazy people in Gulf Harbors or non-crazy people in Gulf Harbors. So I like one person or some people to decide what all of us should have a decision on, because some things I might say, well, when's your next meeting? I don't really need to get an email that says, when's your next meeting? It's just one person can handle those. Not going to be me, but I'd like somebody to do it.
Do we have a volunteer?
Well,
I mean, the emails right now are going to Kavika and his team.
right, but in terms of how the committee, so it's similar to public comment, right? So if someone were to stand here and talk to the advisory committee and provide suggestions, recommendations, guidance, or questions, they would do that here. That is just another mechanism. So it needs to get to the advisory committees. I don't know how I would filter, if I would give an appropriate filter.
Yeah, I mean, I think to Steve's point, if it's a question of when's the next meeting, you give the answer. If it's,
Okay.
I have a comment for the advisory committee, then you would read that into the record at the next meeting. I think you'd have to be careful on, so is it a question, or is it something that needs to be, presented to the group at the end of the day? I think that's how we handle most other committee emails.
Maybe the question is, how many emails do these other sites get? I mean, are they getting 20 a week, or are they getting 1 a week?
It really depends what's being discussed, and I think this project will probably could generate a significant amount of emails, but if we continue to work on the transparency issues to the website and public comment here, you probably won't see that. So my recommendation to the group would be let the county staff receive the emails of this. I mean, it's all public record at the end of the day, and we'll use best judgment to provide what we think we should provide to you or not. I mean, we're not going to withhold. Definitely not going to withhold something that should be on the record, specifically if the citizen asks us to put it on the record, even though the email is a public record. So yeah, let's apply that, and we'll give you a report on how many we're getting.
Awesome.
I think that's the way to handle that.
We didn't have any between last meeting and this meeting.
I think you just got it, didn't
Because it wasn't announced until today. We'll start.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to do as Brian said. Let's let the government committee look at it and then send it to us if it's important. And I would further say it should go to the chairperson, Chicky, and Chicky, you can look at it and figure out whether it needs to be disseminated or not.
So how does the board, so when the board gets written comment, correct? How do they manage written comment?
And it just depends what the issue is, quite honestly. So, I mean, they don't read all of their emails on the public record.
Sure.
I think that's what I'm saying. I think we have to handle it by a case-by-case basis to see what the information is. So, I mean, the good news is you're gonna create an opportunity for people to submit comments. I think that's the most important piece. And then I wonder how we're gonna market this out. Because obviously, just because we create a webpage doesn't mean everyone now in Gulf Harbors knows that there's this webpage. So maybe we can work with the Civic Association or some other group to basically put the word out that this website is up with this email address, which, now that I just said that out loud, will probably create emails. But I mean, I think that's the point. I mean, that's the point of being transparent. So yeah, so I think it's something we need to do. Sorry, Kalika.
That isn't boxing.
I'm sure I'll get some of the emails too, so we'll share.
The golf partners, you was gonna probably when you're involved.
Is that too like, Parrish could add it to the Gulf Harbors Life, or?
I'm assuming that she would be willing to do that. I mean, she has offered that in the past, right? So I think that would be the hope. I mean, if we put it on through our social media feeds, I mean, that might generate some interest, but that might also generate people that don't live in the community creating comments too, so.
Yeah.
I don't
Everybody
know if
gets
that's
the
what-
Gulf Harbors Life.
Yeah, I think that's a great, because I don't think we have emails for everybody. That would be a great way to.
Yeah, we had discussed putting a link on the Gulf Harbors Civic Association main page to link to whatever your website is. Just strictly an informational link.
That's a great idea.
Awesome, thank you.
And that might be easier and less visible than the flyer. Like,
Yeah, I just want to make a clarification of the statement that I made. There's a website, I don't know what it's called, neighborhood website or something, and it can get very malicious and nasty and comments. I don't want to hear that stuff, but if it's construction questions and things like that, I just don't want to hear a bunch of whining. So if it's good questions and things that need to be discussed, that's the kind of stuff that I want to see, not people just pissed.
I think that might be a good litmus test on, and if it's relative to the task of this committee, then maybe we share it with the group. If it's some other procedural issue or, then we'll take it
Perfect.
from
Okay, where are we? I think that's it.
members,
FAQs, do you
FAQs.
want time to consider what FAQs we can start plugging some questions in there and answers? Or you guys can provide us questions and answers at a later date, or you can.
I remember one reference, I think it was a mailing that went out by the committee a few years ago that had the citation of the 1843 property owners. Anyway, it had like a series of like 15 FAQs in there. Maybe that would be a place to start, if that's, information is still relevant.
I will run that down. If you were to email it, I would receive it. If you were to email it
Let's
right
test
now, I
it.
would
I
receive
know
it.
you want to email me.
and I think our FAQs can be driven from audience members as to what they want to hear also. Right?
Sure.
So,
Yeah, well, often I serve the advisory committee, you serve the community, so you're kind of like the middle. Yeah, so they want to.
we know some out there know a little more than we know, and some out there know a little less than we know. So those FAQs can come through, we can solicit that through the email.
I have seen a copy of the initial letter that went out regarding MSDU. They do have FAQs, and that's a good place to start, so I'll start there.
It just occurred to me, because I think the FAQs are really important. Maybe as a part of a regular agenda, each time we come in, we're going to be talking to people in the neighborhood, we'll be getting more questions, so maybe we can just have like a little placeholder, any new FAQs to add to the website. Just make it a regular part of the agenda. Because I don't think we're going to think of all the FAQs between now and the next time, right?
We'll keep that under the public notification website portion. We'll just discuss FAQs in there.
Okay.
Or or do you want to do old business on SAT?
Why don't we add it add it with public notification, and if it maintains, then we might move it up to a sub of public comment. But right now, keep it under the public notification of old business. Okay. So we've got so moving on after the FAQs, the topic discussion or next meeting. Do we have any more on current topics or new topics in discussion?
I just had one, maybe it doesn't get added as new business, but we've talked about it a lot. And that is, what are the conditions that allow the park to be open to our neighborhood? It's having some portion of the lawn cut, of the grass cut, and then some level of dryness. Is there anything else that you think we should have that as a,
Entrance
as
criteria?
a line item? Is okay, because that's what we're all striving for, is to get the park open. So what does it take? Do we need more fences? Does the parking lot have to be improved, or just cut the grass and reasonably dry? I don't know. Or do we need this pump project in place before we let other people can enjoy the park?
That's an outstanding question. It's something that I've been kind of, since we've been talking tonight, thinking through. I feel like if we can create this mode path, I think that's a step in that direction. But then I started to think of the parking lot and the fencing out front and access in general and signage. Let us do this. Let the team come up with a very basic package of some minor improvements that focus on safety and things like that, signage or whatnot, and we'll present that at the next meeting, real high level, because I do think if you open something up with some mode paths, with no signage and no places to park, they might be parking at Frank's place and driving in and out. But again, we need to look at the parking lot to make sure that's a safe environment as well. So let's, great question. I'll get with the team, we'll figure that part out. And again, I'm not talking about major capital improvements here. I'm just talking about minor stuff that we can put together to clarify your concerns, because I do think that that's important.
Okay. So after the parking lot's mowed, then we can see.
We see if there's any asphalt.
Yeah, I was hoping we were gonna bring that up, because yeah, that whole area needs some significant work.
But I'm assuming you're gonna need some signage by the pond saying, danger, don't go in here, there's alligators, no swimming, some of those standard little signs here and there.
I don't even know. I mean, I'm thinking off the top, again, not having much time to really think this through, is you probably got to modify the entrance fence. Maybe you wrap it around maybe you move it in and you put it towards the other side of the parking lot. I know the building is removed, correct?
Yeah.
How
So I
about
think,
no boat parking?
no, but that's
No
about
trailer
trailer issue.
parking.
Yeah, that'll be a sign for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think nothing intense or crazy, but I do think we need to guide people in the right way.
Is that
And
fence,
then try to maybe fix some stuff in the parking lot that isn't, again, a major lift from a capital perspective. If that's where we're intending people to park, you know? I don't even know if the parking lot is usable, quite honestly.
is the chain link fence there going to be removed at some point, or is it always gonna be a chain link fence that needs to be opened? That's the question.
Yeah, I think that we put that up initially for security purposes, so that was something we always thought would be redeployed, maybe at another location, because with chain link you could do that, obviously you have to cut the posts and stuff, but I don't think we really have a final decision on that. That's, again, open, I think, for discussion.
So can we add to the next meeting, we need to talk about the fence, who's opening, who's closing, what are the hours, where people are gonna park, whether we're gonna allow a trailer or not. If we're not, are we gonna enforce it? How are we gonna enforce it? Those types of things.
Parking lot fence.
Yeah. Hours of operation.